I'm here on Horse Barn Hill in Storrs, Connecticut. This place is a landmark for the University of Connecticut, with many students coming daily to enjoy the view that it provides. But where did this hill come from? And what evidence does this hill provide for the overall formation of Connecticut's landscape? It may surprise you to find out that the answer lies within Connecticut's glacial past. So come with me while we discover how glaciers formed the lands that UCONN sits on today. Glaciers. They're a piece of history that's origin can be traced back millions of years. In fact, the first small glaciers were formed 34 million years ago on the top of the mountains of Antarctica. Glaciers form when snow accumulates over long periods of time, especially in global ice age events where climate conditions are primed for the creation and sustainability of these ice structures. Glaciers like these have made an impact all throughout history. But what about here in Connecticut? The answer would lie within Earth's many different glacial periods. Since Earth's beginnings, there have been several glacial and interglacial periods, with widespread glaciation ebbing and flowing over millions of years. Presently, we are in the interglacial period known as the Holocene. Prior to this, however, the Earth has been home to as many as 5 ice ages, with the most recent being the Quaternary period. This period is where Connecticut and the rest of New England were impacted the most. The Quaternary period began 1.8 million years ago. It was notable for its advancing and retreating of ice sheets originating from the Hudson Valley area of Canada. The area in which this period took place is key to its involvement in New England's topography, as the Quaternary period had one of the biggest impacts on the North American continent out of the 5 different glacial periods. With this localized ice age, the conditions were primed to create some major changes to the continent's landscape. Although North America was being affected as soon as the Quaternary period began, it wasn't until 95,000 years ago that New England began to see the topography that was present today. The Wisconsin glaciation was another period of glaciation within the Quaternary period. It consisted of 5 different ice sheets moving across the North American continent. During the Wisconsin glaciation, the massive Laurentide ice sheet made its way through North America. Horse Barn Hill here is a key piece of evidence of this glacial origin. The hill was formed by a sliding glacial formation that deposited glacial till, a mix of sediment that includes rock and soil. The movement of the glacier and its subsequent deposition formed a drumlin, a small hill containing this packed sediment. Today, we know this drumlin as Horse Barn Hill. Geologist and UCONN professor Robert Thorson studied the glacial creation of Horse Barn Hill, dividing its formation into 5 events. The first event was the lodgement. Thorson describes this lodgement as the deposition of all the materials that Storrs sits on, aka the glacial till that glaciers from the Laurentide ice sheet carried and deposited. The next event was soil formation and weathering. Over tens of thousands of years, varying climate conditions caused the glacial ice to retreat and then later return. This brought oxides to the lodgement till and formed minerals in the soil. The third event was glacial erosion. This was how the actual shape of Horse Barn Hill came to be as it is today, with the sliding glaciers forming the land into a drumlin. Thorson explains that these observations indicate that the final shaping of hills we see today was due to a streamlining erosion of a previously more undulating and weathered landscape, with the upper parts of the hills being more resistant than their flanks. A thin cover of younger till is sometimes present near the hilltops, but it is much more common at lower elevations. The next event of the hill's formation was the interglacial conditions that came after the last period of glaciation. This allowed vegetation to grow on top of the hill. The final event that Thorson details is Anthropocene preservation. This is where humans came into play, with the arrival of Samuel Storrs leading to the settlement of the land, becoming what we know as Storrs today. Horse Barn Hill was left widely untouched and excellently preserved, because of its elevation and distance from what is now the main UCONN campus. Even after all the development that has occurred here in Storrs, the origin of the land will always be intertwined with the glaciers that made their way to the area. Glacial movement has played a key role in land formation all across the world, and that's no different here in Storrs. The topography that can be found here on UCONN's campus has been vital to the study of glacial movement in the area. So, the next time you come here for a picnic or even a fast-paced sled ride, just remember that you have glaciers to thank.